Sorry, I had to step away. I forgot to turn off the radio. Okay. I was searching and searching for an article about Time Out of Joint by Philip K. Dick, and it's on my hard drive somewhere. Let's see if this Windows search thing will find it. Time Out of Joint. No. I want it on my hard drive, you foolish evil computer. Time Out of Joint. Shoot. It would help if I could remember the author's name. It's Umberto Rossi. That's it. Umberto. Let's see. I don't want to see web results, you evil thing. It isn't helping. Anyway, Umberto Rossi wrote an article about Time Out of Joint. Joint. Can't find it. Hi, Nine. Hi, Sugar. Hi, Oswald. Hello, everybody. I'm stumped. I'm totally stumped. Where could it be? No, that can't be it. That can't be it. Uh-huh. All right, I'll check my downloads folder. Ah. Sort by type. Didn't accidentally delete it. All right. Well, I did quote it in my work in progress. Let's try one more search. That might be it. No, that isn't it. Okay, I'm going to have to wing it because I can't find the article. But I do have, well, maybe it's in my stuff instead of my PKD folder. Blah. Evil. Okay, Control F, ROS. I, as in Umberto Rossi, find. Here we go. Umberto Rossi published a paper. It's actually about the logos. And here's what I quoted. Oh, it won't all fit, will it? Well, let's see. I'm going to have to break it up into 3 posts. And here we go. There is much that Dick's earlier and later novels could say. and we could not shut them up by labeling them as the product of a madman, even if they really were the product of a madman, as are Toad's and Van Gogh's works. They could still signify, speak to readers who are not crackpots or psychiatrists. Well, there's more to it than the logos, although that's the okay, so what I want is just a bunch of words. Okay, let's see if I can, I don't know what I'm doing here. All right, it would help if I didn't have typos all over the place here, you evil thing. Here we go. Now I found the paper. And yes. No, no, not that. This. Um. Time out of joint, of course, is kind of about time. Now here on page, come on, 2 of Rossi's paper, which is very academic and not easily accessed. Rossi says about time out of joint, until chapter 7, we are presented with their quiet, ordinary, unsurprising daily life. Work, family, leisure, time, neighborhood relations. 6 chapters without the weirdness. That's a lot, especially for Philip K. Dick. He actually establishes the characters, which he's generally accused of failing to do, developing characters. Now, here on page 8, Rossi says, and this is related to time, even though Junie/Gretchen refuses to kiss him, Regel/Faust, in other words, he's comparing Regel gum in the novel, in Phil's novel, to Faust in uh, Goethe's work. Okay, so Regel is confident of his final success, and here Phil quotes from Faust, sort of. He knew that one day he could have her, chance, circumstances, a certain mood, and it would be worth it, he decided. So one day is a future time. Our topic today is time. Regel/Faust would be young again, mating with this embodiment of the ewig weibliche, eternal womanliness, literally wifeliness. Ewig is eternal. Weib is wife. Licha is an ending. We can't strictly translate that German word into English. And in parentheses, Goethe's ideal of transcendent womanhood as it appears in the last lines of his poem. Yes, folks, Faust is a huge, long poem. And I wish the translators into English would not strive to make everything rhyme. It takes away from the beauty and the meaning. All right, now outside parentheses, and this quotation of Goethean terminology is not out of place. Junie slash Gretchen possesses a peculiar kind of pre-human innocence that lets her remain unspoiled by time. And Rossi goes on. And of course, on page 10, Rossi refers to story time. See, in Regelgum's world, nothing is really real. Objects turn into slips of paper with words written on them. I'm not going to read every single word, but can his, that's Regel's, unstable and vanishing worlds be compared to G. Slusser's dissolution of history or J. Ficata's dissolution of reality? As for the former critical reading, in other words Slusser's, the liberation of story time, that is, its entrance into the ever-changing and vital horizon of American historicity, as contrasted to static and monumental European history, does not seem to be something Dick actually wished for, since the practice of endless and not at all innocent, quote, denial of precedent, end quote, is explicitly depicted in his post-Orwellian novel, The Penultimate Truth, as an act of violence and a domination technique. In other words, if you don't know your history, you're doomed to repeat it. The endless and nightmarish denial and remaking of the past in Penultimate Truth derives directly from Orwell's 1984. I don't know why he wrote out 1984. Well, on my copy, it's just the numerals 1984, and it would be difficult to propose that it is a model, unless it is a radically dystopian one. As for the latter essay, that would be Fekete, Ficata's theory. The dissolving of reality does not seem to be something that was peacefully or enthusiastically accepted by Dick. And where Cummings' illusions of reality, his experience that reality is an illusion, I'm paraphrasing, and here I'll start to quote, leads him to radical inability to believe in his life and ultimately to madness. And then in Phil's speech, How to Build a Universe That Doesn't Fall Apart 2 days Later, I think he might have delivered that in Vancouver, British Columbia in 1972. I think that's the one. So, quoting from this speech, in Phil's own words, perhaps time is not only speeding up, perhaps in addition it is going to end. And if it does, the rides at Disneyland are never going to be the same again. Because when time ends, the birds and hippos and lions and deer at Disneyland will no longer be simulations. And for the first time, a real bird will sing. That's an idea, a concept that takes a lot of thought and exploration. All right, let me see what's happening in my chat room. What's better, a king of the gods or a god of kings? Why do we need kings? Let's see. Uh, and neighborhood relations is dead in most of modern America. Yes, that's why I'm fortunate to live where I do. I live in a neighborhood. I live on Friendly Lane, and it really is friendly. Even the weekenders, the people with vacation cabins up here on the mountain, are nice people. Hmm. Okay, and Oswald quotes Goethe: Death is a commingling of eternity with time. In the death of a good man, eternity is seen looking through time. Well, you see, Goethe cheated. In the end, in Goethe's Faust, God says to the devil, I'm sorry, but you cheated, and Faust is not going to hell. Quite different in Christopher Marlowe's Faust, where at the end of his 20 years of getting anything he wants, Faust is dragged down through the floor by a band of demons. Hi, Strontium. Um, you see, in biblical terms, hell literally is beneath the earth. Um, in ancient times, and especially in the Middle Ages, before there was good, solid evidence that the earth is a sphere, many people believed that the earth was flat and hell was below it. So if you dug a hole deep enough, you'd end up in hell. And this idea was strengthened by the fact that when you dig down, the dirt gets warmer and warmer. And in mines, whether for coal or gold or whatever, the lower you go, the hotter it gets. And yet, in natural caves, it seems to get colder and colder. Go figure. Anyway, um, Galileo was not the first to support the theory of Copernicus, but he was perhaps the first to survive the Inquisition. You see, Galileo was not hauled before the Inquisition for saying that the earth was round and it moves. He was actually hauled before the Inquisition for insulting the Pope and his family. He called them morons. And when he recanted, it was not so much that he was afraid of the torture and death that the Inquisition could impose upon him, as it was that he really could not honestly say that Copernicus was right, that the earth is a sphere and it moves. Because if the earth spins on its axis and goes around the sun, why don't we all fly off of it? Copernicus could not answer that. Today we can. Good old Isaac Newton came up with the theory of gravity. Hmm. We still don't know what gravity is, and we don't know what time is. Sorry to be munching on a cookie, but I haven't had my breakfast. Now, I found an article on the internet about time out of joint. So let's take a look at that. Here's a link for you. The truth about lies. And the truth about lies is that we can't live without them, not even the white ones. I don't see the, oh, here, by Jim Murdoch. And he begins with a quote from How to Build a Universe That Doesn't Fall Apart 2 Days Later by Philip K. Dick. And Phil said, if you can control the meaning of words, you can control the people who use the words. And he begins with a brief summary of time out of joint. And a little lower down, he says, it all begins with a cord pull. Actually, it all began with a cord pull. Philip K. Dick, Phil came up with the idea for time out of joint when one day in his Francisco Street bathroom he reached for a light cord that wasn't there and never had been there. The light was operated by a light switch. The impulse could be explained as merely freakish or as a subliminal awareness of our alternative worlds. Phil, the fiction writer, chose the latter. Okay, that's from Lawrence Sutton. Now, the way Phil told the story to me was that he and Cleo, his wife Cleo, first or second wife, depending upon whether you count Jeanette, the first wife, they came home from an evening out. They had seen a movie. And Phil opened the front door to their house and reached for a light switch. And there wasn't one because his living room had a ceiling lamp with a cord that you had to pull. Oh, maybe both happened and they've become conflated. Now, the article by, I'm bad at names, Jim Murdoch says, look, so that's where it all began. And on page 22 in his copy of Time Out of Joint, Vic Nielsen goes into his bathroom and reaches for the cord pole. Are you okay? Margot called. Oh man, I don't know how that happened. It went to another web page. I got it back. I can't find the light cord, he said, furious now, wanting to get his pill and get back to play his hand. See, they're playing cards. The innate propensity of objects to be evasive. And then suddenly it came to him that there was no light cord. There was a switch on the wall at shoulder level by the door. At once he found it, snapped it on, and got his bottle of pills from the cabinet. A second later he had filled a tumbler with water, taken the pill, and come hurrying out of the bathroom. Why did I remember a light cord, he asked himself. A specific cord hanging a specific distance down at a specific place. I wasn't groping around randomly, as I would in a strange bathroom. I was hunting for a light cord I had pulled many times, pulled enough to set up a reflex response in my involuntary nervous system. And Vic is not the, I'm skipping down, Vic is not the only one who's experiencing, what shall we call it, a spatial dysfunction. Well, Regal Gum, the main character, actually is psychotic. He's mentally ill. but the other people experience it too. This is not considered one of Phil's best books. Frederick Pohl said that the novel doesn't really come to an end, it just disintegrates. And Regal Gum, although mentally ill, has this intellectual conversation with his brother-in-law. Not sure what page that would be. It doesn't say here. Regal said, I've read some in my time. I was thinking of Bishop Berkeley, or if you're English, you'd say Barclay, but it's spelled the same. The idealists, for instance, he waved his hand at the piano. Oh, got a friend at the door. You're now live on YouTube. Okay, I'll sign off. Yes, because I have to scan that for you.
Yes.
Yes, I'm forced to take a break for about half an hour because I have some business to conduct. And my appointment is a little early or late, depending. That's very relevant to a discussion of time. Let's see. Phil had an opinion that psychiatric medications actually make you stop seeing reality as it really is. And yeah, Oswald, it's something worse than the CIA. Worse than the CIA. Something you've never heard of. Now I'm going to come back on around hour and a half from now, 90 minutes. But I really have to get going now. Let's see. I'll be back in about 90 minutes. And I hope you'll have some brilliant things to say about time. Well, hi, Sleepy Dave. I gotta go, but I'll be back in about 90 minutes. So come back in 90 minutes. Or listen on the replay. Thanks, everyone. Okay, and have a great day. Yes, I gotta end it.